Hey everybody, Duncan Gilman here. You probably know we strive to change our lessons, update our classes as often as we can so that you can keep up with the social media changes and see what is reflected in the lessons actually played out in real life when you're doing social media for a client or for your business. Not always the case when social media changes as quickly as it does. So while we work to update classes, I like to occasionally bring you these updates in this short video format so that you can see what to expect down the road. And this is a great example. These Twitter changes that Twitter is about to roll out over the next couple of weeks are pretty significant. And I think they will really benefit the way you use Twitter and bring the emphasis back to the conversation that is really why people are drawn to Twitter in the first place. Let me show you what I mean. There are 4 changes we're going to talk about. The first one is about replies. You may know if you've used Twitter for any length of time that when you reply or reply all to several people in a conversation thread, those usernames count against your total 140 characters. Here's an example. I was talking with one of our students, Michelle. She had tweeted the Keebler account. We were having a fun couple of tweets back and forth. In fact, if you haven't checked out the Keebler account, at Keebler Elves. It's pretty funny what they're doing with it, so I definitely recommend it. But back to this update. Currently, so normally, these 2 usernames would count against my 140 character total. That means I have to really work to edit what I'm talking about, the text itself, or I have to drop some people off the conversation. If I want to reply to multiple people, I may have to reply to just 2 or just 3 instead of 4 or more. That will no longer be the case. These username characters won't count against my 140 total. Even if I just wanted to reply to Michelle alone, her username just by itself is fairly long, which is totally fine, but it'll be even more fine once this change rolls out because I'll be able to include her, any other longer usernames, multiple usernames, without having those count against my total, which is pretty exciting and really, again, brings the focus back to the conversation, not the usernames. The second major change is also directly related to character count, and that's media. You probably already know that GIFs and photos and videos, polls, these all currently count against your 140 character count. That will no longer be the case. This is really exciting. You'll get to fully explain, talk about the media that you're posting without having the media itself take away from the message. Currently, that media that you're uploading directly counts against your character limit. You'll see this is a blank tweet here, haven't typed a thing, but I have uploaded a photo, and you can see my character limit is already down from 140 to 116 just because of the photo. So another great change coming up. Those great photos and GIFs and everything else, the videos that you're posting, won't count against that 140 limit. The next 2 are not directly related to character count, but indirectly related in that they really impact the conversation that you're going to have on Twitter and really bring the focus back to that conversation. Retweet is not available for people on their own tweets. May not make a whole lot of sense. You may be wondering, why would I want to retweet or quote my own tweet? Well, sometimes you may want to go back to a tweet that didn't get as much action in the first place. Maybe you want to retweet it out at a different time, different day, but you want that same content to be there. Now you have that option. You'll notice currently retweet or quote a tweet is grayed out. It's not available in that list of icons down at the bottom of the list of buttons. I can't click on it for my own tweet. But in the future, one of these changes, you'll be able to retweet and quote your own tweets. If you want to add some context, add some more information to a tweet, you'll be able to look back and comment on old tweets. It's an interesting feature, and I think, again, it's about providing value in the tweets themselves, in the conversations. The last one we're going to talk about, this is the last of the major changes Twitter has announced. It's rolling out. Of course, there may be more, but this is the last of the ones that Twitter has announced. And again, not directly related to the character count, but an interesting change to the way replies are done. And Twitter was a little bit vague about what the change itself is going to look like, but you probably have seen Twitter users do replies with a period or other symbol or punctuation before the username. The reason is because the way Twitter structured a reply is that anything with any tweet with a username first, with a username as the very first thing in the tweet, anything like that was considered a reply. Even if you weren't directly replying, even if you didn't hit the reply button, but you started a tweet with a username, it wouldn't necessarily be seen by all of your followers in their news feeds. They could always see it by going to your profile, by going to your account and clicking the tweets and replies, but they wouldn't be seeing it necessarily just by going through their news feeds. Twitter is changing that, and again, it's a little bit vague how they've told us that they're going to be changing the functionality of that, but the basic idea is you will no longer have to have some sort of punctuation or symbol before the username in order to send a reply to all of your followers. So again, let me summarize this again, because it's a little bit confusing if you're relatively new to Twitter. When people reply to a tweet, but they wanted that reply to go to all of their followers, not just the person they were replying to, they would put a period or other punctuation before the username. Because again, when you have the username in the front of a tweet, it is considered a reply. So somehow, some way or another, Twitter is adjusting that so that you won't have to include that silly looking punctuation if you want a reply to be seen by all of your followers. So that's the basics. Those are the basics behind Twitter's updates. Again, we're going to be updating the classes, but this will give you an idea of what's coming down the road very shortly for these major Twitter updates, so you can be prepared while we work to get our classes up to date. That's it for now. Hope you enjoy Twitter, and please let us know if you have any questions about these changes.